So yeah, just sitting down with Caleb here from pre-construction just to run through some important points when it comes to food facility fit-outs. Obviously every site and facility is unique in its own right, so it's important that all factors are considered. So there's some key points that we wanted to run through, and I just wanted to bounce a few ideas off Caleb as well from pre-con. So what do you consider as important when it comes to workflow design for a new food facility, food and beverage fit-out?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting point because a lot of people will start the process with their current growth and what their current projections are for that year or year to come. But what we find, what works a lot better in especially the food industry, where you're securing contracts and you don't know what's around the corner in terms of your growth plans, is to start projecting a little bit further ahead than that. And part of the workflow design is doing a process flow map, right from the product lines that marketing might be wanting to bring out over the next few years, what your current customers' growth projections are. That's a big consideration. A lot of people don't think about that. And then get your process flow to a point where you know that, okay, if we implement and we execute on this plan, whether it's in this facility or another facility, we've set ourselves up for the long term. What we find time and time again in this industry is there's short-term gains. So what we find is plan ahead first, get it right for the 5-year or 10-year period of your growth projections, and then execute on the project from there.
Yeah, that's good. And we've also looked at staging projects for clients as well, haven't we? So you've got your stage 1 design, stage 2, stage 3, depending on your growth plans and how you want that to look.
Yeah, exactly right. So you've got a master plan, and that master plan might be a 10-year plan, but as long as you've got that master plan in place, you know exactly what the next phase of the project is and the next phase of growth is in the business.
Yeah, that's good. In conjunction to this is obviously services infrastructure as well. So similar kind of idea when it comes, design is one thing, but then you've got your services infrastructure as well, which you need to make sure you're planning ahead for as well.
Yeah, that's right. And the big consideration with services is considering what government requirements might be or what the auditors are looking for in the next few years. So quite often they'll do white papers on what they're looking for. It might be HACCP, might be fans, might be SQF standards and what they're looking for in the next little while, making sure that your process pipe work, your services are going to be up to speed with any work that you do. A big one is drainage nowadays, so making sure that everything's going to a grease trap. It's been discharged legally. It's going into the network in a legal way. You've got water authority approvals in place for drainage, and then it comes down to process pipe work. So where we could use poly pipe in the past, we can't use it now in a lot of high care facilities for compressed air, for instance. It's got to be stainless. So that is a big one. Your services infrastructure has to be assessed based on your growth plans, because you might actually not have the required discharge allowances that you need, and even the capacity in the network to discharge for your growth. So that is a major consideration, and it can be a costly exercise going for upgrades, whether it's gas, whether it is your compressed air and drainage, sewer lines, water, it might be RO water, potable water, whatever it is that you're using. You've got to make sure that you've got the capacity in that system to get you to the next 5 or 10 years.
Yep, that's good. And what's really important for greenfield sites as well is getting someone like us, in terms of a food facility fit out, to be engaged early on in design on that base build for greenfield sites. So then once we come to do our fit out, we're not saying, okay, we need this certain amount of power or we need this discharge in the building, which wasn't catered for in the original base build, which is where people can come unstuck.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Power upgrades is a huge cost to companies, and if you haven't planned that 10-year, especially greenfield, you want to get a 10 to 15-year lifespan as a bare minimum out of greenfield sites. And then on the other hand, brownfield sites, so you might have found an existing facility that you can move into and lease or buy, and then you haven't got the infrastructure in place to be able to upgrade the building to where it needs to be for your food processing. So, a recent project, we needed a 600 amp supply. We needed to go through Ausgrid. That took close to 4 months to get that approval through, and it was touch and go as to whether we would actually get that approval, and the client had already signed the lease on that building, so it was a critical aspect. To pull out on that lease is a massive cost.
Yep.
So plan ahead and involve someone that knows the design and knows the building and can give advice on the existing infrastructure is key.
Yep.